Happy Wednesday. It's showtime. Finally the day for the event, and I'm a little scared, a little nervous, but mostly excited to share some time with all of you, friends, family, some people that I haven't even met face-to-face before, but I met through social media who in some way my story resonated with you. So I'm really glad I've got the opportunity to share it, hopefully inspire a little bit, hopefully give some perspective on dealing with challenges beyond just a terminal illness. And I really want to take this opportunity to say thank you. Thank you to all the people that are making time to come today, this evening. I tried to do it at a time that wouldn't be too busy, a Wednesday evening, which hopefully people are free, but I know a lot of people had to get babysitters and make arrangements to be here, and it means a lot to me and my family that you are. Because you are a part of this. You've been part of the support group that supported me, encouraged me, and kept me in a positive attitude throughout this, and I couldn't be here without you. So let's have a good time. And we're looking forward to it, and looking forward to hopefully spend a little bit of time with you guys afterwards as well. So enjoy. I know for a lot of people, I talked to Carrot, Alex about potentially coming up and introducing me or doing stuff, and they both were like, no thanks. For me, talking isn't that hard. It's kind of the shutting up that's a hard part. So I promise you I'm going to keep this an hour-ish or so and go from there. I don't have a clicker up here, so we're just going to kind of go through it organically and kind of move on to the next slide and share things, kind of get right into my story. And that's really that in January of 2024, after not feeling incredibly well, I went to the Mercy San Juan emergency room. I had just recently gotten coverage with my wife Jessica, who you'll hear more about, a lot more about in the coming minutes. And I got coverage through her job at the VA, and she's like, you need to get a primary care physician ASAP. So the day that we found out that I got coverage, I called 48 different providers who, through our Blue Cross Blue Shield website that was the coverage that we had, said we're taking new patients. Not a single one was. So I got frustrated. And as a lot of things happened during the last year and a half, just out of the blue, my son's mother, Christina, called me up, something about him, and I just mentioned how frustrated I was about not being able to find a primary care physician. And she said, well, one of my neighbors is a doctor. Let me talk to him. Long story short, he was going to meet me privately because he felt like the symptoms that I shared with him were pretty serious. And then he decided that probably the best bet is me just to go to the emergency room. And we went there on a kind of cool gray January morning. And honestly, I didn't know what would happen. Honestly, cancer wasn't really on my mind. I figured, we're going to have to do something and maybe some sort of surgery, who knows. And we went in there at about 7:30, right? By 9:30, we had a doctor. I had already gotten my vitals, already got my blood test, gotten a chest x-ray, gotten some sort of scan of some sort, I get them all mixed up. And a doctor was pulling us into a private office and sat us down, and he said, his words I'm never going to forget, I'm really sorry to tell you, but you've got colorectal cancer. It's stage 4 and it's terminal. I immediately was, wow, how? I'm a pretty healthy guy. I've been active my whole life. Never really drank that much. Haven't drank in years. Never took drugs, never smoked. A lot of people say it's probably boring, but, kept me in good shape to do ultra marathons and things like that I used to do. And I was really kind of zoning out. It was really not what I was expecting to hear. And then I felt Jessica's hand next to mine, as I have a lot of times since then, and she squeezed it, and she said, hey, we can get through this. I need you to believe that. We can get through this. I'll go through hell with you, but I need you to do something for me. And I said, okay, what's that? I need you not to feel sorry for yourself. I couldn't stand to see that. I said, okay, that's fair. So we sat there and held hands for a minute. Then he took me out to a gurney, and I got admitted, and thus began my cancer journey, and thus began the best year of my life. A lot of people will be thinking, best year of your life, how crappy must your life have been that your life suddenly got better after you got cancer. I concur. And I've been very surprised by this myself, but hopefully throughout the discussion when we talk about things, you'll see what I mean by that. And one of the first things that I realized, and we can go ahead and move on to the next slide, is that, and I know there are a few, and I don't need to call you out, Arena, for one, but some of you are in the medical field. I was always healthy. I never really went to the doctor that much. I'd get my annual exam every 10 years or so, because I didn't really need it. I was good. Why would I go waste time there? And I didn't really go. But this is probably represents about maybe 20% of the different locations and places I've been. I've dealt with Dignity, Sutter, Mercy, Kaiser way back when, and now I'm out with UC Davis. And I didn't have a negative perspective on doctors, but it was kind of indifferent. I was like, obviously I respect them. I take a lot of school and everything. Nurses, same thing. Appreciate what they do. But probably 99% of the people I came across were incredible to me. They treated me with dignity, with respect. And for those of you that are in that field, I cannot begin to tell you what a difference you've made for me and for the people you treat every day. I get the feeling because I have become very, gracious would be the word, very appreciative of the care that I've received. And I tell them because I don't think that many people do, based on the reaction they get when I do tell them. So I want to tell you guys, any of you that have chosen to go and be a nurse, to be a tech, to be an admin, to be a doctor, I am appreciative of what you do. I'm in awe of it, and it's made a huge difference in my life and the lives of others. So I can't say enough about that. I really, you hear about all the negative aspects of healthcare in the United States, and there are a lot. It's not the people that are in it. There's some amazing people in it doing amazing things, and I wouldn't be alive if it wasn't for them. So I really, really appreciate that. It means a lot to me. And like I said, it's not said enough, but I do thank you. Really, best year of your life. Some people probably doubt the sincerity of that statement. But when you have cancer, when someone tells you that it's terminal, that there is a ending point that probably isn't as far as you thought your ending point was going to be, it really makes you pause and think about things. It makes you think about, what do I want to do in life? What sort of impact do I want to have? What sort of things do I want to correct that maybe I did wrong? And that perspective has been so incredibly valuable to me. I'll say a lot of people, probably not as many people as I would hope, was a procrastinator in a lot of things. After I got cancer, said, there's some, I'll use correct language for kids here. I want to do cool stuff. I wanted to do right by my family. I worried that if something happened to me, they wouldn't be taken care of. So I got on it. Thanks to some hard work, I'm going to give myself a little credit there, and definitely some credit to Jessica, and the help of both Jed and his brother Brady. We have a home that means the world to us. We wake up every day grateful for that. We have a place that we can call our own, that we make memories in. It's not a mansion by any means, but for us, it's a palace. It's something that allows us to have people over, to be with friends, to be with family, to create memories. And it's not just a physical thing. It's got heart. And I'll show you in a little bit kind of what we did with it that really has made it a home. And things like that, the perspective it's given me, the ability to kind of look at myself and go, you know what? I may not have 20 years. What's important to me? What do I want to do with this life that I have? And I want to be a good father. I want to be a good partner. I want to be a good friend. I want to be a good human being. I want people to think, hey, this is a good guy that did right by me. And I know there's some of you out there that at some point I probably didn't, and my apologies for that. I'm going around and where I think it's applicable, trying to make amends for that, for things that I probably did that weren't all that great throughout my life. But for the most part, I can look at myself now in the mirror and say, you know what, I'm putting forth the effort to be the best person I can be. And the degree to which it is rewarding has just blown me away. I really felt like I was doing these things for all the right reasons. I wanted to be a good person. Not because I wanted someone to pat me on the back or I wanted someone to say, hey, you're a good person. But because I thought it was the right thing to do, and because the people I most admire are the kindest people. And it's not a coincidence. I just caught your eye. I think about kind people. And you all have in so many ways inspired me to do that, as has my wife, Jessica, who in her own way pushes me to do the right thing, and sometimes when it doesn't come so naturally to me. I found strength in pain. I am not a total baby, but I'm certainly not I certainly don't have the highest pain threshold in my home. So when you get cancer, you get poked and prodded a lot. You give blood. You have tests done. You're asked to bend over and allow them to do things that you wouldn't normally do. I'll go into a little bit more detail on that in a little bit. So you're probably like, what's he talking about? So what you're seeing right there is that's where my port is accessed. I have a port in my chest. There is a tattoo of my beloved pooch Leo, passed away a couple years ago, on my chest, and that's where they had to put my port. And it doesn't stick out. You just see a little bump there, and they stick a needle into it, and that's how they give the chemo to me. And I believe there it's connected to a pump that I wear for 48 hours every 2 weeks to kind of slow drip some chemo into me. Also, just because we got this picture up here, and I don't think I have too many other pictures with my shirt off, so I'll just kind of cover it right here. Those hands right there are taken from a picture I took of my grandmother on her last day alive, with her doing her rosary. And she is, along with my grandfather, probably the most important people in my life. And that's always going to be over my heart, and it really means a lot to me. I don't have 50 tattoos. I probably got like 6 or 7, but that is where it should be. I also wear this little token. I spent some time in New York, and New York meant a lot to me. And it's like, it's NYC, there's nothing you can't do. Once again, I see that every morning. Go and get in the shower, I see it, and it just reminds me, don't put limitations on yourself. There's things that you can do if you just put your mind to it. And then St. Jude is very important to our family, not by any stretch the most religious person, but Jessica took me to St. Jude in San Francisco, and I just had this overwhelming feeling of goodness. There was something there that was not judgmental. It was people that were there for what I would say are all the right reasons. And it really meant a lot to me, so I've got a couple St. Judes that I wear. But as far as finding strength in pain, I kind of took the pain that I would get, giving blood. It's just no big deal anymore. I always hoped I'd get to that point where it would be no big deal, because it's always like, okay, just do it. All right, cool. And for those of you that giving it, you're like, it's really not that big a deal. It's not. But for me, I'm always like, just do it, and here's another one. And I've had other ones that are a little bit more painful. But it just dawned on me that all of those things are a step closer to knocking the cancer back. So as much as it might be uncomfortable for me, I'm like, it's even more so for cancer. So every time I get poked, every time I get prodded, every time I experience some sort of pain, I tell myself the cancer feels it more. And it makes it a little bit better. There's another thing that right when I first got diagnosed, no shame, and Christina, I kind of borrowed this from you. There you are. Before I saw my oncologist, I met my oncologist, but I was going to see him a couple days after my initial diagnosis. They sent me to a surgeon. And the surgeon, I think I even mentioned this, I've got colorectal cancer. So initially, it was pretty deep in my colon, in some cases almost down to my rectum. And we saw the surgeon. I didn't know what treatment it was or how it went, but the thought was, if he could do surgery and remove it, that's the course we go. So went there, and there was this little, it looked like almost like a little step ladder sort of thing, and if you're Catholic, ever been in a Catholic church, and they have the pews, and kind of like that, a little cushion on the knees. So I'm looking at it, and he's all, can you come over here? I'm like, okay, what do you want? And I got down in it, and I realized, okay, now my butt's sticking out. And without giving too much information, I kind of got violated a little bit, so he could feel the tumor. And I'm sitting there, and honestly, I felt, it wasn't painful at all, but it was, I did feel a degree of shame. My wife was sitting right there and saw this, and I'm just like, wow, I was this healthy guy, and now here I am bent over with a doctor with his finger in me, feeling for a tumor. And as he removed it and snapped off his gloves and threw them in the trash, kind of nonchalantly said, too far gone, there's nothing we can do for you. Okay, another heavy hit that we took, and this is just a couple days after my diagnosis. So I pulled up my sweatpants, said, I'm gonna go to the bathroom for a minute. Jessica meet you out in the lobby. Went, washed up. Didn't want her to see me cry, so kind of got the tears out of the way. Okay, ready to go. We walked out there. We go and we sit in the car in the parking lot, and I started up and go, I need a minute. So I'm just staring out the windshield as she is as well. And a lot of you know Jessica. A lot of you don't. You're gonna feel like you probably know her better after today. So sorry about that, babe. But we're staring through the windshield, and she's like, you know what? I said, what? She's like, that doctor in there was kind of an ass. I'm like, yeah, he kind of was. And she's like, you know what? I'm like, what? She's like, fuck that guy. And that's very much on brand for her. And she was right. I had 2 days until I saw my oncologist, and during that time, I called my brother Sean, who we've been through everything together, so he's, in many respects, I'd say my best friend, and we share a lot of stuff together. And I started thinking about, I need to make plans. I need to make arrangements and things like that, because I don't want my family to have to deal with this stuff. And after 2 days of that, I saw my oncologist, Dr. James Califf. And this is zero, I have nothing but respect for him, so I hope this comes out the right way. But he's an older Indian gentleman, kind of reminded me of Yoda in some respects, just wise, calm, just really soothing. And he said, so how things go with the surgeon? I said, well, not so good. Here's what he told me. And he said, well, I looked over your file, and you never smoked, right? I'm like, no. You don't drink? I'm like, I haven't drank for maybe 4 years. And I never really drank much before that, to be honest. Okay. And you're pretty healthy, right? And I said, yeah, I could have lost some pounds. But yeah, for the most part, pretty healthy. He said, well, I don't see any reason why you can't have a good outcome. And that was the first day I had hope. That's all I wanted. It was like that old, well, not old. You guys probably know the movie I'm referring to. I said, so we got a chance. I felt like I had a chance finally. And I don't know what he meant by good outcome, but I know it was better than there's nothing we can do for you. So I took it, and I went from there. I also wanted to share with regards to no shame, I had radiation treatment, and the purpose of that was to reduce the tumor in my rectum, and the idea was make it small enough to where everything would function normally, because if it didn't, I might be on a colostomy bag my whole life, which I had about 2 days of like, no frickin' way that's happening, to, you know what, I'm not gonna be an a-hole. I'm not going to let that kill me because I'm proud and don't want to have a colostomy bag. If that's what it takes to keep me alive, then I'm going to do it. But thankfully, the radiation worked, and I don't have to do it. So thank you for that. Also wanted to quickly share another sort of anecdote about that. When I was getting radiation, it was at they call it the ROC, the Radiation Oncology Center at Sutter, which your buddy's family actually paid for. It's their name up on the building and everything. Katie Anderson, Alex, we'll talk about it later. But thank you guys for that. That's a real nice place. And what I did there, the first time I didn't know, I knew that there were, the doctor told me they're going to shoot radiation basically into my butt, and the idea is reduce the tumor. Okay. So I get in there, and of course there's like 2 techs, a couple other nurses, it's just quite a crowd. And not that it matters, honey, but a couple of them were relatively attractive young ladies. And they're like, get up on the table. So I get up on the table. There's a cushion there. So I'm like, okay, I see kind of what they're having me do here. So I get up there and get onto it and put my knees down. And they said, okay, now we're going to tape open your butt cheeks. I'm like, you're going to what? Okay. I guess that's what they got to do. And I vowed, because my wife told me, she said, you be a damn good patient. You do what they tell you to do. So I did what they told me to do, and I laid there and let them tape me open. And they did that every day, Monday through Friday, for a few weeks. And I'm not ashamed to say I kind of got used to it. Like, do what you got to do. All right, let's go for it. And when they give you radiation, because they do it all day, they don't want to be in the room when they're doing it, because they'd be exposed to a lot of it. So they leave the room, and this was near one of my last treatments. It might have been my last one, just for whatever reason. And I'm sitting there, and they play music, and you kind of zen out, and I'm just relaxing. I literally got to the point where I could count down in my head and be like, okay, probably about 10 seconds left, 10, 9, 8, and then the machine would go down, and I know it was over. And I got ready, and they left the room, and I kind of like, are they out of here? Are we going to get started? And I looked over, and there was a shelf, and I had my eyes closed. My eyes were kind of adjusting to the light, and it looked like a picture frame. And then I focused, and I realized it was a monitor. And that monitor was hooked up to a camera, and the camera was behind me, pointing right at my butt. So I got a view that I've never had before. And I'm thankful I haven't had it again since. And again, I just had to tell myself, no shame. This is part of the process. Of course, they need to see where they're shooting it. For them, they see a lot of these things every day. So we'll just go with it. And having no shame with that really helped me get through it, helped me be the best patient I could be. And I think the nurses, the doctors, the techs appreciate it, because they typically didn't get people thanking them for that sort of thing, and I still did. So I learned from that and kind of take that with me. Turns out that cancer's been a pretty incredibly effective teacher. I look at some of the things that I've been given, some of the experiences that I've had, some of the perspective that I've gained, and it wouldn't have happened any other way. In a little bit, we're going to attempt to play you a little video that the Sacramento Republic did that talks about that a little bit. And for me, it was very much unexpected. I imagined it was going to be tough, which it has been at times, but there's been a lot of joy. I look at it. Where's Mac? There he is. When was the last time I saw you before this all happened? Been a while, huh? Over 20 years. Yeah. Besides your mom's birthday, yeah. Yeah. And there's a lot of you that we could say similar things. I haven't seen you forever. And I'm sorry about that. I definitely want to change that. And that was part of the reason why I did this, to kind of get you all here. And now I can make plans to see more of you. And when I tell people that I'm happy, that I'm positive, they're like, how do you do that? It's like, how can I not? I'm still able to get up here and talk. I can't run like I used to. They told me not to because of my lungs, and that kind of bums me out. And even if I could, I can't go outside right now because I'd pretty much burst into flames, it seems like. I get a little bit of sun on my nose, and it gets raw, and it starts bleeding from the outside. Skin's really sensitive due to the chemo that I'm taking, so I've got all kinds of special ointments and creams and my desert gear that I go out in with the hoodie and the little fingers and the thumbs and long, what are they kind of like the MC Hammer pants kind of thing? You do what you got to do, because I thought I was doing enough, and it turns out I didn't, and I woke up and I had, why is there blood dripping down my nose? Because I hadn't taken care of myself. So I learned that. I also want to share that when people asked me about the good things and to share, kind of how that all came about, I couldn't find a whole lot of English words that described it well. And I found in some other cultures some things that really hit it right on the head. Ikigai is from Japan. It's about focusing on things that make life meaningful, which motivates one to continue with life. I mean, that's perfect for cancer. So I'm like, that happened. How did it happen? It was focusing on those things that make life meaningful. Family, friends, connections, the health that I have right now. All those things were things I wouldn't say I took for granted, but I didn't realize how special they were. Mipak, which I believe is Serbian, taking pleasure from everyday joys. Sorry, Jessica, bring you up again, but she knows I was not I'm probably the most sensitive guy in the house. Well, I'm the only guy in the house. We got a female dog, female cat, my wife, my daughter. So I'm the only guy. So that presents some challenges at times. But I'm probably the most emotional, most sensitive. But I still wasn't much of a crier. That changed a lot. I blame it on the chemo. I'm kind of like, they have the old, I don't even see Hallmark commercials anymore, but they say, you see those Hallmark commercials or the SPCA and you cry. That's me. You guys familiar with the dodo? They save animals and everything. I can't even watch those damn things. I donate money though, because they make me feel bad and I want to do something to help them. But I see other things. I see things like old couples walking hand in hand. I see young couples walking hand in hand. About like Gio and Elijah. I'll talk a little about them in a moment, because one of the things as a photographer that I've really enjoyed is being able to see the real side of people. I'm not Mr. Pose people in a way that makes them look great. I just try to make them look like they are naturally who they are. And to some degree, I'm pretty good at that. I give myself a little bit of credit. But it's enabled me to be around some really, really cool people and spend some time with them in very special occasions. So that means a lot to me. Sisu, this is Finnish, I believe. A visceral experiential need to endure, which pushes the body and mind to continue. And that's that fight. People say, keep fighting. And people say a lot of things. People give you a lot of advice. And I know there's a couple people here, I saw you nodding, that have had cancer or are in remission or currently being treated. Know what I'm talking about? And what I always try to tell myself is that it's done with the best intentions. And when you know that it's not, then you can tell them to piss off and get yourself some space. But the vast majority of people mean well, and that's the way I take it. I do my own research, so I'll listen to what you have to say, see if it fits for me, and kind of go from there. As much as I feel I've had a pretty unique journey with cancer, I know everyone's is unique. One of the first days I came out, actually it was the first day I came out of chemo. Jessica was in the lobby, and she pulled me over and she kind of whispered, and she said, "Hey, when you're in here, sit up straight." It's okay. Pull your shoulders back, chin up. Okay, why? Because some of these people look like they've already given up. And we don't judge. I know people are going through stuff I can't even fathom. And worse than that, I know some of them don't have a partner like I have by their side. They don't have people like yourself supporting you. They're doing it alone. So there's zero judgment on that. But she was right. Every time I go in I sit up straight. I'm like, no. I go in there, I'm nice to the nurses, I'm nice to the doctors. It's not always pleasant. Sometimes I feel like I'm about to throw up. I feel like, oh my God, I just went pee, I just sat down, I gotta go again as you're jamming more fluids into me. And you just do what you gotta do, and you carry your little IV treat. There's a name for it, but I don't know what it's called. Carry that thing with me. The other day, I had a new one at UC Davis, and I almost got up and walked without grabbing it, which wouldn't have been fun if it would have ripped off. But everybody's journey is unique, and all of you thankfully don't have cancer, but y'all have challenges in life. Y'all have your own unique journeys, and aren't any better or worse than mine. We all have our own challenges, and what I found is, if you can just accept that, one, life's not fair, because it's not, you can get through the challenges that it presents you, and that's something that cancer's really helped me with. So this is another foreign word, and some of you guys may be familiar with this. A lot of you guys are a little hipper than me. A lot of you guys are, actually. It's spelled Hygge. It's actually pronounced Huga, and it's Danish. It's about creating an unbuyable feeling of comfort by communing with loved ones in a cozy environment. This happens to be my cozy environment. If you've ever been over to my house, I'm usually sitting there unless Carrots beat me to it, and she set up shop there, which they used to make fun of my chair, but now it gets fought over. It's pretty comfy. Got my record player there. It's got Bluetooth connection to music, so I get music going there. Over to the right is the front of the house where there's a fireplace and TV if I want to watch a soccer game or something. And all of this art is from people that I know, friends of mine. Some of them who I adore and who I love to death, including, it was just the shot, but this one, this little, is it a raven or a crow? I always get them. Crow, okay. They're really serious about these things, so I gotta make sure I get it right. My niece did that, and it means a lot to me, so I put it up there, along with one I have to the right there by Francesca Gammas, who is a dear friend of mine. Just to the right of that is one that Melissa did of Carrot in our pool, and then there's another one up on top here that Melissa did. And then there's that big one in the middle, which is really special to me. That was by Lynn Fei, who is a dear friend, has been incredibly supportive to me and my family throughout this journey. And one of the things that we decided to do when we realized that, I don't mean to be morbid about this, but you realize that, hey, maybe I'm not gonna be around for 30 years, so I don't need all that money I saved up for retirement. I could be using it maybe in 10 years and do a lot of fun stuff. One of the things I wanted to do was to support friends who had supported me. And part of that was getting some art and getting some original art. And most of the art that I got was like, you see that little tiny cat on the right side? Was mostly that, because that was kind of what I could afford. And I just said, you know what? I want some really cool stuff. So I went over to Faye's studio, and I had picked out one. It wasn't that one. I had picked one out and was like, I really like this. I like a lot of her stuff, so that wasn't really strange. But I told Jessica, I said, I think this is the one I want. She's like, oh, really? I said, yeah. And she's like, well, what about this one? I was like, oh. It was, if you've been there, it was the centerpiece of her gallery. And I just stood there, and it just hit me. I'm like, no, you're right, that's it. I didn't think I was worthy of bringing that into my home because it was just a moving piece to me. And now every day, I tend to be the first one up, last one to sleep. That's kind of just how I roll. When I get up in the morning, we have a skylight you see in the upper right-hand corner there that shines light on it, and it kind of gives it a certain look, and it makes me happy in the morning when I let the dog out to go do her business. And then at night, when I close down the house, lock all the doors, make sure the lights are off. I usually lock most of the doors. Jessica always double checks me because she doesn't believe me. And I see that, and it gives me a different feeling. And everyone that's come to the house has commented on the art and that particular piece. And it really, this wall in particular, I've got some more art throughout the house, means a lot to me and has brought me a lot of comfort. It's a place where I can sit and talk to friends, family when they come over. A lot of you who have come over to the house have undoubtedly sat there, and we had some great discussions. And I love that spot, and I love that I have it. One other thing I got from cancer, and this is kind of more on the lighthearted note, is a new cool hairstyle. So those of you that knew me before when I won't say when I had hair, because I had a little bit of a bald spot, probably, that was tiny. That was you, right? I'll call you out, you be careful. And I was on one chemo regimen, nothing happened. I'm like, does everybody's hair fall out? Like, no, some they do, some they don't. Okay, cool, mine didn't. Then I changed it, and suddenly I was like, my head would be itchy, and I always kept my hair pretty short, but finally I'm like, Jessica, is my hair thinning? And she's like, yeah. And literally 5 minutes later, not to be cool, and I don't get mistaken for Stanley Tucci as much as I do maybe Jesse Eisenberg, but that's all right. I got a cool hat collection. I got beanies, I've got hats. I've got a big old lifeguard hat, which is back here so I don't get sun on my face and burst into flames. And adds a little bit of style now that I'm getting a little bit older and care about that stuff a little bit more. So I've embraced it. Luckily, I don't have too funny of a shaped head, and I think for the most part it works for me. Although I thought maybe I would shave off. Carrie used to call this my muzzle. She hasn't really called that in a while. But both her and Jessica threatened to leave me if I shaved it off, so it's staying. But it is pretty easy to maintain. I don't get to see my buddy Donnie the barber nearly as much, but small price to pay. Hair is not that big a deal to me, so we'll do that. So moving on, what's really important? This is not to call particular people out, But this is representative of so much that's really important to me. Connections with good people, some nutty animals in some cases, and just having experiences. I told you a little about that house, and that's me and Jed on the day that he gave me the keys, and it meant so much to Carrot that she literally, I could tell, I didn't see it because she covered herself up, but she got teary and ran into what is now her bathroom because she didn't want anybody to see. It meant that much. And as I said, it's not a mansion, it's not anything, crazy, ridiculous, but it's ours. And couldn't be possible without Mr. Jed there. So I thank you for that, and I thank you for your friendship. In the upper right-hand corner, we've got my siblings. Marlon, Sean, is Marlon? Marlon showed up, huh? He's on, Marlon, he's clearly a guy, but he's on Latina time, so we're just glad that he made it. My sister Madeline and my brother Sean, and each of them super proud of. I don't need to tell their stories because it's not really my story to tell, but Marlon and my sister Madeline have overcome a lot of stuff in life to get where they are right now, and they are in many ways an inspiration to me, just with how hard they fought to get where they are. Down in the lower right, there's me and I say niece, but that's not even close to being able to encompass how close we are, Macy. That's us at, is that Mumford & Sons? Yeah. And I was telling some people, I used to be a music snob, and now I'm just like, if someone wants to go to a live show, let's go. I'll check it out. And I had a blast. It was a real good time. My friend Lynn Feifei, who did the painting. And I mentioned I'm the only guy in my house, so this is my portion of the bed. And Luna didn't used to be able to get on the bed. That's Luna. And this is Ozzy, who was our one-eyed pirate ninja cat. And they never used to get on the bed. But now, usually when I get to bed, Jessica is already asleep, and those two are warming up my spot, we'll say. So I try to get them off. But these things, talk about like the little things, the connections, the people, means so much. And I get so much out of it. And I can't thank all of you. And like I said, this represents a lot more than just the people on here and the things on here. My life's better for these connections that I've made. And I've worked a lot harder in making these connections stronger. And I'm going to continue to do that going forward. So expect to be hearing from me because seeing your faces, there's a lot of you that I want to do more things with. Okay, moving on. Spoiler alert, cancer sucks. It does, in fact, suck. It can be ridiculously hard. And for me, the biggest thing is the unknown. Not knowing how long you have, how long I'm going to have this health that I have right now, which allows me to do things like this and do pretty much everything I want to do. Just don't know. And that is one of my favorite pictures because Alex, Carrot, Jessica, that's just pure joy. And that's the feeling I get when I see them and see them being together. And it makes me so grateful for this little family that I have. I'm really, in so many ways, blessed. I'm grateful. I am proud of them because they never, at least not to me, ever feel sorry for me. We kind of joke about my illness. I'll say something like, I noticed there was some dog poop out in the front yard, and you guys may have forgotten, but I have stage 4 cancer. So one of you would probably need to do that. And they roll their eyes and pretend they don't like my dad jokes. And inevitably somebody does it. It's not me. But you know what's harder than having cancer? Anyone have any ideas? I'll just throw it out there. It's loving somebody who has cancer, caring for somebody who has cancer. And that hit me. And Jessica will always say, I'm not the one going through it. And that's very kind and brave of her to say that. But she is. My kids are, my friends are, my family is. And I know that it's hard to see someone going through something and not knowing exactly how it's going to end up. But thankfully, they haven't stayed away from me. They've embraced me. We've renewed relationships. They made me feel incredibly valued. And as a human being, I mean, what more can you ask for? So I am just grateful beyond words for that. And also wanted to share more about kind of the more extended family. Thanks. So Jessica's family, the Mondragon Lopez's, which if you've seen my Republic jersey, it says Tyree Mondragon on it, because I wanted to honor their family that welcomed me with open arms. Her mom jokingly say my mejor amiga. Her English isn't much better than my Spanish, but we have really good conversations. I love her to death, and both her, Miguel, Sergio, America, the girls, the boys, Karina, Joe, they accepted me as family and treat me like family. And I have a pretty cool family already, so to get another one that loves me and adores me and celebrates my birthday and comes over and does stuff, and nieces that love to play in the pool, my life just exploded with goodness. And I'm really, really grateful for that. I mentioned a little bit the Tyree family, my siblings. That's pretty much all that's left there, and they mean the world to me. And I really wanted to, and will, take a moment now to share, I promise, a quick story. My mom was a single mom. She was a drug addict, and she did some things before she got herself straight and really finished her life on a high note until a tragic accident took her when I was 18, and I'm the oldest of 4 kids. But during her life, she did some things to support her habit that really made us the black sheep to a lot of family members. A lot of family members honestly didn't treat us very well, didn't treat us at all. So when I saw my tia Nena, my Aunt Madeline, who's in the back here today, and I'll try not to get emotional, she was one person who never saw us as the black sheep. We were family to her. And several of her extended family members are here today, not because she told them you better get there, but because of the way that she lived her life. They're like, family is in need, a family member needs support, we're going to show the hell up. And they're here. And I'm not going to call you all out because I see several of you around here that are extended from that Aunt Madeline tree, but I told her, and I want to publicly tell you, Aunt Madeline, I love you. You are a saint on this earth, and you were there for not just me, but for my brothers and my sister in a time when nobody else was, and we've never forgotten it. And you ever need anything, you call me, and I'm there. I promise. Love you. Okay, made it through that one. Hope. This is something that it's sort of this nebulous sort of thing, but I saw it when Dr. Kayla told me I see the potential for a positive outcome. I also saw it when I saw this video clip of Rodrigo Lopez, who, for those of you that don't know, he's a player for the Sacramento Republic, had a pretty bad injury a couple seasons back, and they put a clip about him working his way back from it. And that really resonated with me. I'm like, this guy had a ligament damage, but he doesn't want to go out like that. He's fighting every day to get back and get out on that pitch to represent our community and go out and get another star for us. And I'm like, that's pretty cool. I've never been one to really idolize athletes and celebrities and stuff. I think, people that are good at what they do, people like Arena with her photography, some other people I look at with their artwork, Sarah Marie, some of your artwork is just amazing. Well, all of it is, but it's things like that that really sort of take me back and go, you know what? The least I can do is fight for my health, for my family. So we're going to go forward, and I think we have like a different version of the presentation, so they're going to have to like pull a little clip off of the internet. But the Republic was good enough to, for whatever reason, they wanted to do I swear I didn't just type my name in there. They actually did this about me. And Roro has a real tight schedule, but he, just to give you an idea, for those of you who don't know him, he offered to, when I was looking at a second surgery, he said, you let me know, I will come see you in the hospital. This type of guy that he is. Every time I see him, he's like, every night, me and my family pray for you. And I'm just like, wow, that's amazing. So we'll go ahead and play this clip. It's just a couple minutes. For those of you who haven't seen it, the Republic did it, and it tells a little bit about my story and how that motivated me. I've always loved soccer. When I heard there was going to be a team here, I wanted to support it, just like I do, all things in Sacramento. That first match, I think what I recall was just how much the community wanted this. The amount of people there, the amount of kids there, all in their soccer uniforms, and some of them just coming from practice, and soccer moms and coaches, and just the diversity of people that showed up to support it. Some people who were very passionate about it, some people who maybe didn't know that much about the game, but wanted to. The one thing that Sacramento loves are people that love Sacramento. The first few years, my son and I proudly stood among the Tower Bridge Battalion. About 8 years ago, I met an incredible woman and introduced her and her young daughter to my passion for the Republic. I was there for the Miracle at Bonnie, for the championship game, and the MLS announcement. I am Republic for life, and some of my fondest memories are with my family at games. At the very start of 2024, I had some symptoms that just wouldn't go away, and I just knew my body wasn't feeling right. I called 48 different doctors who said they were taking new patients. None of them were. So went up to the emergency room at 7:30 in the morning. 2 hours later, I had a doctor saying, I hate to tell you this, but you're stage 4 colorectal cancer, and that's terminal. And it just started to hit me. And my wife just said, hey, we can get through this. We'll get through anything together. You gotta fight this. You can't be resigned to this is your sentence and there's nothing you can do about it. We're gonna fight it, we're gonna do it together, and I'm gonna be by your side. And I've taken that with me. Shortly after I got diagnosed, I saw a clip that was done on Roro and his recovery. And it really hit me that, this is something he's passionate about, he's put his life into. He wants to get another star for this city. He wants to go out as a champion. And I know that means the world to him. So he's fighting with every ounce of his being to do that. And seeing that effort that he puts into it, I'm like, that's the least I can do for my family and for myself to get through my own journey. And just saying that how much the Republic has motivated me to fight for the things that I want, much like players fight back from injury. It's not the same thing, but it's the same spirit. You have something you want, you put your mind to it, and you go get it. And from that day on, whenever I get down, I just remind myself that, there are things in life that I want to do. I don't know how much time I'll have, I still don't, but it makes me grateful for every day that I have, every game I'm able to go to and share these memories with my family. Despite getting this cancer diagnosis, living with it, it's been the best year of my life. I've lived so much more. I've made plans for things that I really want to do. And being indomitable, it's believing that, you have a say in your future. People like Roro, Todd, and my family have been instrumental in getting me and keep me in that place. I mentioned that hope that I got from Dr. Kalith, and then from seeing Roro go through what he went through, really motivated me and pushed me to fight. And it didn't really manifest itself in a way of, I'm tough and I'm gonna go at it, but just like, I can make better choices. I can make sure that, Jessica never babied me outside of 1 week where I really needed some babying because I was in bad shape. But beyond that, she's like, you get your prescriptions, you figure out when you gotta take them, you figure out your appointments, and I'm like, yeah, it's like a full-time job. I think some of you guys, you follow me on Instagram, have seen when I put together my pills. I got a table full of medications. I take this on the morning, I take this at noon, I take this at night. I've got these, and I've got supplements. And I'm not the most organized individual in the world, but I realized this is important, so I'm gonna do it. And now I've got a system down that works pretty well for me. So I don't want to waste my chance. those of you who have seen Ted Lasso, it's a show. It's not so much about soccer, but I think about people. And I think they do a really good job writing. I wanted to because this was one of many moments in the show that resonated with me. They had the sign "Believe," and you see the football players tapping a sign that we're champions or we're whatever, rah rah. It's about believing in yourself, believing in each other. And there's a little speech he did, and I don't want to say it wrong, so I'm just going to read it real quick. Belief doesn't just happen because you hang something on the wall. It comes from here, up here, and down here. Only problem is we all got so much junk flowing through us, a lot of times we end up getting in our own way. Crap like envy or fear, shame. I don't want to mess around with that shit anymore. You know what I mean? Do you? No, me neither. Hell no. You know what I want to mess around with? The belief that I matter, regardless of what I do or don't achieve, or the belief that we all deserve to be loved, whether we've been hurt or maybe we've hurt somebody else. What about the belief of hope? That's what I want to mess with. Believing that things can get better, that we will get better. To believe in yourself, to believe in one another, that's fundamental to being alive. If you can do that, if each of you truly can do that, can't nobody rip that apart. And I took that to heart. And I believe in myself. I believe in my ability to overcome this. What that looks like, I don't know. But I want to say I'm not going down without a fight because I'm not planning on going down, period. But as much as belief, you can't do it solely on belief. If you don't have belief, you're not going to do it at all. And I realize that. So I believe I can do it, and I'm going to show you. I'm here a year and a half later, and I plan to be here quite a bit longer. Okay, we're nearing the end here, and another thing cancer taught me is that it's never soon to do the things you always wanted to do. Alex and I went and saw Game of Thrones performed by an orchestra down at the Hollywood Bowl. It was a really nice father-son weekend. There's Mumford & Sons again, a picture I took with my phone from the fourth row, which is pretty cool. And I warned Elijah and Gio that I was going to kind of call them out. That's a picture I took of them during their kind of engagement shoot. And that shoot really meant a lot to me. Because one, the photos turned out, if I do say so, pretty damn amazing. And they didn't know it, and I didn't know it, but I had cancer at the time. I didn't get diagnosed till about 2 months later. But I knew I was not feeling that great. So we made accommodations, and we're out at a place that luckily there was a bathroom centrally located if I needed to run to it. And I think just because of the heart we put into it and the love they have for each other, the pictures came out like they did. I also, and again, I don't want to pat myself on the back, but I'm super proud of the way it came out because, again, my aim is not to make pretty pictures, but to capture people in their true essence of who they are. And to me, you see that, and that's two people in love, two people who are meant for each other. And I saw that through my lens all day and taking shots. And I put together a photo book for them. And it wasn't because I want to do something cool for them, I did, but it's because I really wanted to know them to know that I saw something special in them, and I wouldn't have seen that if they hadn't believed in me to capture the special moment for them. And it's always meant a lot to me. The fact that it meant so much to them, the gift I gave them, it warms my heart, and it's one of the proudest moments I've had as a photographer. And they've recently been married, and they're here, and I love them to death. And I know they have an incredibly bright future together. These are all the cool stuff we're doing. We got more stuff coming up. Literally on Friday, we're going to plane to go down to Santa Monica, and then we're going to go see Oasis in the Rose Bowl with 85,000 other people. And won't get emotional here, I promise, because Jessica said if I cried, she's leaving. But it's never too late to find the person you want to go through life with. I've had some great relationships, and I have some friendships, and I have relatives that mean the world to me. And you see Luna up there, that smile she has on her face, that's what I have in my life right now. I also have a woman who is secure enough in her musical taste to wear a Metallica shirt to a Yeah Yeah Yeahs concert, which a little kind of two different genres, but I've seen both of them, and they both kicked ass and enjoyed it. We went painting over at Lin Fei Fei's, and you can see by the smiles on our faces that I like to think we're made for each other. And incredibly grateful for her partnership, her love, and honestly, for not putting up with any shit, for making me be the best person that I can be, because she wouldn't accept anything less. And I hope I have some single friends. I'm not going to call anybody out because some of them aren't here, but do not frickin' settle. Don't. You guys are amazing. I feel like I'm pretty amazing, so I have to be up to the standard that she expects from me, and I'm better for it. So appreciate that. Love you, babe. As she has frequently told me, life isn't fair. But once you understand that, you can kind of prepare for it. You can be stronger. You can do things differently. You can make sure the things you have control over, you take some control over it and do something about it. I know for myself, I wasn't planning on greeting everybody when they came. I was just going back and practice my lines and do everything. But I started seeing people, and you guys really do sincerely mean a lot to me. And I'm looking at everybody because I see so many different people, and it's like just boom, 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 snapshot of different memories, different relationships that we share, different moments that we've had. And I'm truly and sincerely grateful for it. So that was part of the reason for doing this, was just so I get a chance to see you. But also to thank you, because your friendship, the love you've shown me, the prayers, the good vibes, the kind words, the virtual hugs, whatever you want to call them, it doesn't matter to me. It doesn't matter whether I believe it or I don't believe whatever you're sending my way. If it's coming from your heart, it's helped me, and I appreciate it, and it's made a difference. So I do thank you for that. Okay, we're almost there, promise. So that's a little too big of a close-up of me, so I apologize for that. We'll just go back to that one for a second. But I've always wanted to write a book, but to do so, I felt I needed to be totally honest. I don't want to do it half-assed. And quite frankly, there's some things that I wasn't comfortable making available for public consumption, protecting family members, things of that nature. So I didn't know what to do. So what I did was I was open about my cancer. I shared it in a way that initially was a little bit uncomfortable to me, but almost immediately I found love. I found caring. I found people that were sympathetic, that were empathetic, people that, a lot of people said, dude, I have no idea what to say. I wish I had the words. And it light bulb on my head when I said, you know what? It doesn't matter. You picked up the phone, you sent me a text, you told me you're thinking about me. There doesn't have to be any words. That says everything right there. You took time when maybe other people didn't, and you reached out to me. That says everything I need to know about you, and I appreciate it. So for those of you who sometimes don't have the right words, it's okay. I don't often have the right words. I'll just keep on talking until I hopefully try and find something, but it doesn't always work. I'm going to be real vulnerable here because we're right about to wrap it up. I told you about my tattoo, my grandmother's hands. They're always over my heart. Carrot made me that fighter bracelet. She was making friendship bracelets, and I had to make sure she wasn't doing anything appropriate to any guy friends. And so I didn't know what she was going to put on mine. You want to tell them what you call me on your phone? Senior citizen. And what do I call you? Yes, we are. It was going to be ATM at one point, but no, it's a finger toes, because if you see, it's crazy. But as much as we joke around with each other and we give each other grief, when she made the bracelet that says fighter on it, I couldn't look her in the eye. I got teary, and it meant the world to me, and I wear it every frickin' day because it means that much to me. So thank you, sweetie. Now, talked about being vulnerable. That last picture was the Veterans Cemetery down in Dixon. And something happened recently that's never happened to me in my life. And I'm being totally honest, totally sincere here. Only a couple people have heard about this, and I want to share it with you because you've taken time to be with me, and it really was moving. My grandparents were the most important people in my life. They brought me up. They taught me everything. Anything good you ever see out of me, it's direct reflection of them. The Baez's, Rodriguez's, good people, hardworking people, honest people. So when I got my bad news about the cancer spreading to my lungs, again, I was looking for hope. I need something to kind of get me back on track because I'm a little spinning right now, not knowing what this means, that it's not good, it's in my lungs. So we were coming back from the Bay Area. I don't even know what we were doing, but we're coming back from the Bay Area as we frequently do, and we stopped off at the Veterans Cemetery. Went up to my grandparents' grave. They share a grave site. My grandmother's on the back side, my grandfather's on the front. Jessica said, we're both veterans, said if we do that, she's going to be on the front, and I'm going to be on the back, but we'll work that out at some point. I think they have to have the guy in the front. But anyway, I digress. So I was looking at my grandmother's grave site, Madeline Baez. And it kind of dawned on me that as much as I was spinning, as much as I didn't know what the future held, at some point, I could possibly be back with them again. And I'm not throwing my beliefs out there. My beliefs are rapidly evolving in a lot of different ways, probably different from a lot of people, and that's okay. But I said, you know what? I really miss my grandparents. And if my time comes, that will be a kind of cool thing to be able to see them again, if you believe in that sort of thing. And throughout my life, when I prayed, it was very much one way. I don't know if I was doing it right or if there was a right way to do it, but for me, it was about, hey, let me hit a home run in this game, please, amen. Or maybe somebody else's health, hey, help them be strong, whatever, amen. Catholic little sign of the cross, whatever. And I just tell my grandmother, I said, you meant so much to me. You did so much for us. If things end for me and I see you, that's a silver lining. And I've really missed you. And I hope someday we'll meet again. Amen. And I went to turn away, and clear as day, I swear, this stuff doesn't happen to me. Never has. I heard her voice, and she said, Danny, I love you. I miss you too. When it's your time, we're going to be here for you. But now is not your time. And I just sat there, stood there actually, took a deep breath. Jessica didn't know what was going on. And I said, hey, you will not believe what just freaking happened. And I told her and expected her to be like, what? Are you kidding me? And she's like, I believe it, because she's a believer. And again, I needed hope. I wasn't really asking for it. I was hoping I'd get it at some point, and I did. You don't always get what you want. Sometimes you get what you need. At that point, I got hope, and I really needed it. So, really grateful for that. And it's just another example of how fortunate I've been since I've got diagnosed, to feel that sort of love, to feel that sort of purpose in life. That I can go and I can make a difference like all of you have made in my life. And I mean that sincerely. And like I said, I just saw somebody else out of the corner of my eye that I haven't seen forever. And it means so much that you took the time to be here. Because when I see you, it's not like, this person I haven't seen for a while. It's like this person, remember back years ago when we did this thing, and you were kind, and you were nice, and we were friendly, and whatever. So I can't begin to tell you how much this means to me. And just kind of going over some of the things that I got. I got a purpose because online on social media, which can be a cesspool in a lot of ways, I found a cancer community. I have people that reach out to me and ask for advice. I have people that post about their sobriety, and every single one, I don't care if I don't know them, I don't care if it's been 6 hours or 6 years, I like it. And I respond, good job. And I am motivated by it, someone working to make their life better. Cancer gave me a sense of urgency to do the right things, to get my life in order, to be a responsible husband, father. And I'm reaping the benefits of that now. It gave me a strong desire to say yes. I look at Kimberly's out there somewhere. We just had coffee recently because she said, let's go have coffee. And I'm like, yes, let's do that. I got an old car, older than me. It's an old Thunderbird. It's really cool. I really like it. But that was kind of the last of my material things that I got. Now I just want to go and create memories. Some in the old car maybe. But the courage to purchase a family home as someone who had, oh my God. So I was so bad with money that I finally decided I couldn't have a credit card. And I went years without having a credit card, paid everything in full cash, just didn't want to do it, didn't want to have late fees, didn't want to have collections, agents after me or anything. I finally said, I'm in good shape now. I've got money in the bank. I paid all my bills. I'm doing good. I'm going to get a credit card now. But I'm probably going to have to do like a secured one. You put in some money and you can, go against that for a little while. Then once you built up your credit, you can start using the credit. So I go into Golden One, which I've been with forever, apply for a credit card. And the guy's like, this is crazy. I was like, what? He's like, I've never seen this before. I'm like, what? He said, your credit score is 0. 0? I mean, that's not good, right? He's like, well, it just means you don't have one. So I'm like, so it's not as bad as you had like a 200 or something, right? And he's like, yeah. It's since gone up about 700 plus points. So we've gotten better about that. A renewed appreciation for the small things and a perspective on what's important. What's important is the connections you make, the people you have around you, who I've got an incredible group of people around me. I'm made up in large part by all of you. And I mean it when I say you've made a difference. I really do. I try to connect as best I can, but I can be better about it. As I see some of you who I haven't seen in a long time, please hit me up if you don't hear from me real soon, because I would love to see you and love to spend some time talking about things. And now to bring things to a close. Is there one more slide? There you go. This was kind of an epiphany for me. Nobody knows when their day will come, but today is not my day. I have today. I have this moment here with you. You guys, in many ways, by showing up, helped make this guy's dream come true. I didn't know if anybody would show up, if anyone would care. You guys all showed up, showed me love, showed my family love, gave me the opportunity to say thank you for all you've given me. And it's a dream come true. I didn't know if we'd pull it together. For those of you that had previously registered to come to it a few weeks ago, I got bumped for the Deftones. I'm not bitter about that at all. They told me that the date was no longer available. I'm like, well, we agreed to it. I put out invitations, everything. Yeah, date's no longer available. And then I get an invitation by the Deftones to show up at the place I booked to do my event. So, but it all worked out. You're all here. And I really appreciate it. I love you guys. Thank you for the love you've shown me. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to look at this upcoming year and say it could be even better than my last one, which is pretty damn good. And hopefully I'll be spending more time with you. Love you guys. Thanks.